Donald Trump took to Instagram to highlight Thursday's delegate news. Quote, celebrating 1237, hashtag Trump 2016, he wrote, with a picture of himself on his plane. He was eating McDonald's and drinking a Diet Coke. Trump reached the delegate threshold to clinch the GOP nomination Thursday while in North Dakota. CBS News senior political editor Steve Chigueras is in our Washington bureau. All right, Steve, so because we just showed the picture, it says here I'm supposed to ask you about that meal.
I mean, he's destroying those fries, but that Big Mac is untouched. And I'm
He's
a little
very
concerned
relatable,
about
though,
that.
right?
I hope he ate the burger.
Like billionaires, they're just like us. They eat McDonald's, right?
Yeah, well, look good, right? I mean, he's hungry and it's McDonald's. He's running for president of the United States.
Yes, okay.
He's one of us, right?
He is one of us, sure. That's what that message is supposed to that's what that picture is supposed to convey.
But look at
right?
that. That burger's untouched. He's got to get after that Big Mac.
All right. Well, let's talk about more serious matters, shall we? I am not sure anyone would have predicted that Trump would clinch the GOP nomination, not to mention 2 months before the convention. So the question is, what will the Republican base start doing at this point to get their presumptive nominee elected?
Well, you're seeing it. I mean, I think you've seen it since Ted Cruz and John Kasich dropped out a few weeks ago. You're seeing the Republican Party slowly unifying behind Trump. They understand that he's the horse they have to get behind. And you're seeing people like Marco Rubio, for instance, who was just harsh against Trump during the primaries, come out today and suggest that he's going to release his delegates at the convention to get behind Trump. You're seeing people like Paul Ryan sit down with Trump in person, talk to him on the phone, try to get behind him as well. And what happened today in North Dakota, you had those delegates standing behind him, pushing him over the top to get to 1,237 delegates. You're just seeing the party coalesce. And I think, that's part of it, is really sort of showing that unity. Secondly, moving forward is now they've got to raise money, they've got to build an organization. The RNC is out today sort of touting their organization they have in a lot of states around the country that they've already built over the last couple of years. Trump was talking about that at his news conference today. So it's really about just coming together, moving forward, raising money, and getting ready for the general election.
All right, looking ahead to November and the electoral map, Steve, what will be Trump's biggest challenge in reaching that magic number of 270 electoral votes?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge generally at this point for any Republican. You look at the map and the biggest states are solidly blue. You've got California, New York, Illinois. Those are always going for the Democrat. Republicans always start further back. But what Trump is trying to do is really sort of shake up the map this year. He's looking at states, not only the battleground states that are traditionally battlegrounds, Florida, Ohio, those others, but he's trying to bring some other states into the mix. He's talking a lot about Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, places that have not gone Republican. For instance, Wisconsin has not gone Republican since '84, Michigan, Pennsylvania not since 1988, but he's talking those states up big. He thinks he has a chance to get into these Rust Belt places and actually make some noise talking about the economy, and he's looking at what he did in the primaries in some of those places. Again, it's not a definite parallel, but he thinks those are ripe for the picking, and if he can get some of those states plus the traditional battlegrounds and do well there, then perhaps he's got a shot at this 270. But it's not necessarily going to be easy. As I said, the Democrats start at a much more advantageous position, closer to the 270 number, mainly because the larger states tend to be more Democratic.
Steve, as you know, Donald Trump has been bringing up Bill and Hillary Clinton's past, most recently about Vince Foster, who was deputy White House counsel during Bill Clinton's presidency. What do you make of that strategy? Vince Foster's death was labeled a suicide, and there has not been any kind of dispute about that fact. And now Donald Trump has raised this as an issue. Where is he trying to target that message, and what is it that he's trying to do with that strategy?
Well, let's just go back to where this whole strategy versus Hillary Clinton is with him. Right now, it's tarring her as crooked Hillary, and he says that at every turn, calling her crooked Hillary, and he's trying to make the point that she's not fit to be president of the United States because of her background and her husband's background. So he talks a lot about the scandals that her husband had while he was president. He talks about Whitewater, he talks about Benghazi, he talks about the emails, and then the Vince Foster thing came up. The Vince Foster situation really sort of taps into this conspiracy theory that some Republicans have had for 20 years since Vince Foster's suicide that the Clintons were somehow behind this because he had information on the Clintons. And you know, again, it just sort of plays into this narrative that that the Clintons are not to be trusted. And again, that plays into the narrative of the polls that show that Hillary Clinton is not necessarily trusted by Americans generally. So what is he trying to do? He's trying to really boost her unfavorables, maybe to the point where his unfavorables are. Hers are lower than his, even though they're still pretty high, and perhaps past his, right? He's basically trying to get her on the same level as him in this unfavorability department, and then really sort of hammer her on other issues after that. But it's really just sort of playing into the crooked Hillary game, and it's just another example of that.
All right, Steve Chigueras in Washington for us. Steve, thanks so much.
Thanks.